to the Motorfest. Leave no playlist unfinished, driver. Our luxury car exhibition moves forward with another iconic British manufacturer. The car we'll be focusing on in this event is again special in many ways. Get to the event tag and you'll see Europe has still plenty in store to surprise you. do-over.
chatting earlier, weren't we? I've got a son, a 20-month-old boy, who can't even speak yet. Top of the stairs with a balance bike, shouting down the stairs. So as much as it's like people say, oh, I wasn't really like that, I didn't handle it like that, I can see that is the personality and the traits people have now. Maybe I wasn't that way in time. That mountain biking. Luckily there were a few jumps in the woods in my house, so that was one thing. I had a mountain bike, got one from Alpha with my brother, then run it on my birthday, and then, you just do this quite often.
Let's get into the nitty-gritty about the bike right now. So let's talk about the wheels, any fancy features, some DIY mods you've got on there, and the day-to-day maintenance for people that are listening to this, and build up a vision of what your bike looks like to them.
So a slopestyle bike is really basic. It's so much more basic than downhill bike. 26-inch wheels. It's kind of a big BMX because you crash all the time, you bail, then it's really light. So mine weighs under 10 kilos, which is really light. It's got no gears, so it's really good BMX. We don't really use carbon fibre much because when you ride it, you get damaged if you don't know about it. So it's mostly titanium or aluminium. It's a really simple setup, but essentially it's a big trick. Like I have to run really, really long weight wrapped around the handlebar certain times to get the bar into it. And then I do like little modges, like a bit of drum winch and like that's probably thinking I'm just going to pump one of those out and I'll win again. And then 2 other people doing it. So you have to be quite far ahead to bring something to competition. So that was really cool. That was a few years ago. I was first to do the backflip Superman to no hander. And then Red Bull, I kind of turned a corner away from competition. So my career very much diverted away from trick. I can only do
blend slopestyle riding and creating content and changed how everything is for you now? Get creative and make videos about it, telling that story. And then 2 years ago, I moved to a farm where I am now, and I've got more land and more space, and I've got a bike track, dirt jump, and this year built a jump which is almost over my whole house. So that's absolutely what drives me, is building things, to be honest. And it just so happens that I ride bikes, so together in. I'd say that's probably the biggest trick that I've seen you do are at your house. Period, right? The one where you jump literally over your house.
Yeah, it's like, that's a childhood dream. When I looked round it for the first time, I realised the driveway lines up in the house and put a taper up against this flat roof, and there's a chimney almost in the way. I was already looking at it. Later,
that's not really fine.
honestly, No neighbours. And then I kind of started making a bit of money and looking at YouTube, you know, all the radio cars and around the... It's so fascinating how you want to find
thought process, okay? Which one that you're riding in extreme cold or